Good evening, and welcome to tonight's breaking news. The International Fencing Federation has voted to allow athletes from Russia and Belarus to resume competing in international events. This decision comes after more than a year of exclusion due to the invasion of Ukraine.
That's right, Bear. The decision appears to allow Russians and Belarusians to compete for qualifying spots for next year's Paris Olympics.
Well, I must say, this is quite offensive of them.
In this article from the Associated Press, we learned the Fencing World Cup in France was cancelled after the international governing body voted to let Russians compete.
The French Fencing Federation said it would not host the Men's Challenge Monolithy tournament near Paris in May following the International Fencing Federation's decision.
I guess you could say the French Fencing Federation is putting up quite the fence against the Russians.
It's interesting to see the backlash this decision has caused, with more than 300 fencers signing a letter of protest, and the organizers of another World Cup in Germany withdrawing as hosts.
Organizers of an upcoming competition in Poland have said they will demand Russians and Belarusians sign a statement saying they do not support the war.
I guess you could say they're trying to fence out any potential controversy.
It will be interesting to see if the fight complies with the International Olympic Committee's recommendations, including no Russian or Belarusian entries in team events and a bar on athletes who are contracted to the military.
Well, I suppose we'll just have to wait and see if the Russians can fence their way back into the international community.
Good evening, everyone. We have breaking news tonight. According to a report from Radio Free Europe, female Russian combat medics serving on front lines in Ukraine are being used as sex slaves by other Russian combat soldiers. This is a heinous crime against humanity and must be condemned by the international community.
It's truly heartbreaking to hear about such atrocities happening in the world. We must do everything in our power to stop this kind of violence and abuse.
I couldn't agree more, Katie. As the great philosopher Immanuel Kant once said, we are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without. And in this case, we can certainly do without the inhumane treatment of women in war.
Absolutely, Albert. And let's not forget that this is just one example of the crimes against humanity that Russia has committed in Ukraine. Kiev's decision to issue an arrest warrant for Putin was justified, and we must continue to hold him accountable for his actions.
Speaking of accountability, did you guys hear about the protests against rape culture in Tel Aviv? Hundreds of women gathered to demand justice and an end to sexual violence.
That's powerful. It's important to remember that these issues are not limited to one country or region. Sexual violence and abuse are pervasive problems that we must address on a global scale.
Indeed, Ellen. As the great anthropologist Margaret Mead once said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Well said, Albert. And let's not forget that the media plays a crucial role in bringing these issues to light. In this article from POS, we see the power of journalism to expose the truth and hold those in power accountable.
Absolutely, Barrett. As the great journalist Edward Ray Murrow once said, the obscure we eventually see, the completely obvious, it seems, takes longer.
Well, we certainly have a lot to think about tonight. Let's continue to use our platforms to raise awareness and demand justice for those who have been victimized by sexual violence and abuse.
Good evening, everyone. Breaking news today as NATO has officially banned the social media app TikTok on their devices due to security concerns. This is a significant move, and we need to discuss it further.
Yes, Barrett. This is a big deal. TikTok has been a popular app for a while now, and many people use it for entertainment and socializing. But with the recent concerns about data privacy and security, it's not surprising that NATO has taken this step.
Well, KD, as they say, it could. But in this case, it's more like TikTok did a breach. It's important to take these security concerns seriously, especially when it comes to sensitive information.
Absolutely, Albert. We need to be vigilant when it comes to protecting our data, especially in this digital age. And it's not just NATO that's concerned. The US, Norway, and other nations have already banned the app from government-issued devices.
Whoa, that's a lot of countries. I guess TikTok won't be getting any government contracts anytime soon.
It's not just governments, KD. Many companies are also banning TikTok on their devices due to security concerns. It's a serious issue that needs to be addressed.
Indeed, Alan. As they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. We need to take a different approach to data security and privacy.
I couldn't agree more, Albert. We need to be proactive in protecting our data. and that means taking steps like banning apps that pose a risk to our security.
Well, I guess we'll have to find a new app to dance to, huh?
It's not just about dancing, KD. It's about protecting our data and ensuring that our privacy is not compromised. We need to take this seriously and work together to find solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's breaking news. 2 Iranian women were arrested for not covering their hair after a man attacked them with yogurt. This is a shocking incident that highlights the ongoing struggle for women's rights in Iran.
It's really sad to see that women are still being oppressed in some parts of the world. I mean, we're in 2021, people.
Well, as they say, the only thing that is constant is change. But it seems like some things never change. Like the oppression of women.
It's really unfortunate that incidents like this still happen. We need to work towards a world where everyone is treated equally and with respect.
Absolutely, Alon. And it's not just in Iran. We see this kind of oppression happening all over the world. It's important that we continue to shine a light on these issues and work towards a better future for everyone.
I mean, can you imagine being attacked with yogurt? That's just ridiculous.
It may seem ridiculous, KD, but it's a serious issue. Women should be able to dress however they want without fear of violence or persecution.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to feel like we're living in a real-life episode of The Handmaid's Tale.
Unfortunately, Alon, you're not wrong. But we can't give up hope. We need to keep fighting for a better future.
Well, I for one am going to go put on my most outrageous outfit in solidarity with these women. Who's with me?
Breaking news, folks. An American journalist has been detained in Russia on spying allegations. This is a serious matter that we need to discuss.
Oh no, I hope he wasn't trying to steal any of Putin's secrets. That's a dangerous game to play.
It's important to remember that espionage is common practice between nations. However, it's also important to ensure that the rights of the individual are protected.
Absolutely, Einstein. We need to make sure that this journalist is treated fairly, and that his rights are respected.
Maybe he was just trying to get an interview with Putin. I hear he's a tough nut to crack.
It's possible that this journalist was trying to uncover some important information about the Wagner mercenary group. They've been involved in some pretty shady activities.
That's a good point, Musk. It's important to remember that journalism plays a vital role in uncovering truth and holding those in power accountable.
Yeah, and sometimes that means putting yourself in danger. I don't think I could handle being a journalist. Too much drama.
Well, we need journalists like this to keep us informed and to shine a light on important issues. We can't let fear stop us from seeking the truth.
I read Obama. We need to support the freedom of the press and ensure that journalists can do their jobs without fear of persecution.
In this article from Net News, we see the importance of protecting the rights of journalists and ensuring that they can do their jobs without fear of retribution. Let's hope that this journalist is released soon and that justice is served.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's breaking news. 2 women in Iran have been arrested for not covering their hair in public after having a tub of yoghurt thrown over them. This is a clear violation of human rights, and we must stand in solidarity with these women.
Absolutely. Barrett. It's important to remember that this is not an isolated incident. Women in Iran have been fighting for their right to choose what they wear for years.
Yes, and it's a shame that in the 21st century we still have to fight for basic human rights. It's like we're stuck in a time warp.
I agree, Einstein. It's important to remember that this issue is not just limited to Iran. Women all over the world are fighting for their rights, and we must support them.
Absolutely, Alon. And let's not forget that Iran is a signatory to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees freedom of expression and the right to choose one's own clothing.
But it seems like the Iranian government is not living up to its obligations under international law. We need to put pressure on them to respect women's rights.
Yes, and we must also remember that this issue is not just about women's rights. It's about human rights. Everyone should have the right to choose what they wear and how they express themselves.
And let's not forget that Iranian women are some of the most educated and talented in the world. It's a shame that their potential is being stifled by outdated and oppressive laws.
We must also remember that the Iranian people are not their government. We stand with the people of Iran in their fight for freedom and democracy.
Absolutely, Barrett. And let's not forget that women's rights are human rights. We must continue to fight for equality and justice for all.